She handed him the new lease agreement. Her name was in the top left corner, but not as a tenant. Maya Chen had lived in that apartment for 9 years, not because she couldn't afford to move, because she loved the neighborhood. The coffee shop on the corner, the way morning light hit her kitchen window, the community she'd built over nearly a decade. When her landlord, Richard Holloway, announced he was raising her rent by 40%, she knew what this was. This wasn't about the market. This was about pushing her out so he could renovate and charge twice the price. She couldn't fight it. Rent increases happen. That's the game. So, she started playing a different game. Richard was the kind of landlord who never fixed anything until it broke completely. He'd let dishwasher leaks destroy cabinets. He'd ignore heating issues until tenants wore coats inside. Maya had dealt with all of it for 9 years. She'd learned which repair requests to file early because he'd never get to them anyway. But the rent increase wasn't random. He'd targeted her specifically. She was month to month. Long-term tenants with soft leases are targets. We're easy money if we don't fight back. She didn't fight. Not directly. Instead, Maya started watching, learning, calculating. She researched the building, every tax record, every mortgage statement she could legally access. She pulled comps on similar buildings in the neighborhood. She talked to a commercial real estate attorney she found through a friend. What she discovered changed everything. Richard was leveraged to the hilt. The building was his retirement plan, but his other investments had tanked. He was desperate for cash flow. The renovation plan wasn't about improving the property. It was about extracting maximum value before selling. He needed her to leave so he could triple his asking price. Maya saw her opening. She'd saved aggressively for years. Her grandmother had left her a small inheritance. Combined with her own reserves, she had enough for a substantial down payment. She made an offer. Richard laughed when he got it. Actually laughed. "You're a kindergarten teacher, Maya. You can't buy this building." She didn't argue. She just submitted her offer through her attorney's broker. The offer was solid. Not high, not insulting, but solid enough that the bank took it seriously. Richard refused. Of course he did. He saw her offer as a joke, an insult, a waste of his time. So Maya waited. She knew something Richard didn't. He was bleeding. Monthly. The building's maintenance costs were climbing. His other debts were due. He was one missed payment away from triggering a cascade. She watched. She waited. She kept her offer active. 3 months later, Richard called her attorney. The other investments had collapsed. The bank was demanding payment. He needed to sell, and he needed to sell fast. Who do you think he called first? Maya didn't negotiate. Not really. She told her attorney to keep the original offer exactly where it was, no matter what Richard said, no matter how desperate he got. Richard begged. He explained. He rationalized. "This is just business, Maya. Nothing personal." She agreed. "You're right, and business is about leverage. You had it. Now I have it." She closed in 6 weeks. Cash offer. Clean deal. No contingencies. The day she got the keys, Richard was supposed to be completely out. He wasn't. He'd underestimated how hard it is to move years of accumulated stuff. Boxes everywhere. Looking like a man watching his life get loaded into someone else's truck. Maya walked through the lobby. She saw him. He saw her. He opened his mouth. Maybe to apologize. Maybe to rationalize. Maybe to beg. She just smiled and kept walking. That night, Maya stood in the empty lobby of what was now her building. She thought about the 9 years she'd lived there, the leaky faucets, the ignored repairs, the disrespect. The 40% rent increase meant to push her out like trash. Now she was writing leases, making decisions, setting the terms. Richard had applied to rent his old apartment back, a unit he'd once used to force her out. His application was still in her inbox. She hadn't made a decision yet. Part of her wanted to approve it immediately. Let him live under her rules. Make him pay rent to the person he'd tried to displace. But another part of her didn't want him there at all. Didn't want to see him every day. Didn't want the reminder. She was still deciding. For now, she just liked knowing she had the choice. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just a shift in power. Maya didn't need to do anything cruel. She didn't need to make a scene. She just needed to be in the room when the door opened. If you've got a story about someone who underestimated the wrong person, drop it in the comments. We read every one. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because every week we bring you stories about people who learned the hard way that you should never count someone out. See you next time.